Hello, this is Clive Friddle at First Current of 2021, and I'm thrilled to be joined today by Amber Ruffin and Lacey Lamar, whose book, You'll Never Believe What Happened to Lacey, is out. So thank you both for joining me. Amber, you may be better known to more people immediately as a writer and cast member of NBC's The Late Show with Seth Meyers, and you've recently launched your own show, The Amber Ruffin Show, on NBC on Peacock. So with all that going on in your life, we're actually really talking about what happened to Lacey. And there's a good reason for that, because she brings not only a career in healthcare and human services, working with troubled youth and marginalized people, but she brings to us the whole of Omaha, Nebraska. And that plays a very big role in your book. So I want to say welcome to you both, and explain to us why you've written a book about the goings-on in Omaha, Nebraska.
We wrote this book because we thought it would be funny. I mean, and we weren't wrong. I guess it just, people don't know that this is happening, and that cannot stand.
So I came to this conversation knowing, I think, three things about Omaha, Nebraska. And I like to think that as a person who's lived in New York for 20 years, I may be not untypical in terms of the general knowledge of Omaha, Nebraska. And the three things I know are these. It has an interesting second congressional vote, which sometimes goes to a Democrat.
That's right.
I think it just did.
It did.
It's in Nebraska, and I know a lovely guy. Of the two people I know from Omaha, Nebraska, they're both lovely, by the way. One is particularly lovely, works in government in Washington, D.C., and may or may not be responsible for the CIA adopting waterboarding. So Omaha, Nebraska has a kind of interesting and complicated heritage as far as I'm concerned. You guys grew up there. Tell me when you started to realize that maybe your hometown wasn't quite as uncomplicated as perhaps some of us think of our hometown as being.
It was always this way. I don't think there was like oh my God, I can't believe he called me that. It's just the way the world is. You know what I mean? It's like, fire has always been hot. It was never a thing I discovered. I just known. You know, I mean, I don't know. Do you think so? I guess I didn't think, okay, no, that's true. I didn't think there would be places like this where I'm pointing to New York because that's where we are, where it's so much less than Omaha. Like, there's a huge difference. You say what you want about New York, and of course it has its beautiful racism, but it is nothing compared to Omaha, Nebraska. Really nothing. And I feel like I thought every place was like Omaha, and then when I got out, I was like, ooh, I ain't never going back.
Yeah. Growing up, I think, like Amber said, we always knew that racism existed. It wasn't just like at just some point in time I was like, oh, what's that? That's racism. It's just like we always knew it existed. Your parents told you what you could not do. Be careful of this, be careful of that. And then because of Amber living in New York and just that simple story of her saying about the HR department caring about something that happened to her at work, that blew me away. Because normally you're in a fight with HR here in Omaha. They don't believe you. It's extremely racist. You have to fight for everything. And the fact that it was the exact opposite in Nebraska, or in New York, I was like, this is very interesting and crazy.
I wanted to ask you too about retail. I gather from the book that maybe your retail experience in Omaha, Nebraska is perhaps not identical to everywhere else, or perhaps even particularly New York. What is it about you and J.C. Penney?
They have it out for me.
It's true. There is a whole chapter in the book devoted to how every time Lacey goes into J.C. Penney, she gets stopped. And it makes no sense. Like, there are other Black people in Omaha, and there have been. But for some reason, and wait, who knows what's happening to them? It could happen to every Black person. Wait, we do not know this.
We have an interview.
Okay, we're going to go, we're going to take some time, go back, interview all the Black people in Omaha, ask them about JCPenney. But for now, every time Lacey goes to JCPenney, she gets stopped. And we just wrote down all of those instances. And it's funny because when you see them back to back, it's like, what is wrong with these people? And the guy who stops her doesn't know that she is the same person. He is unaware that he's stopping the same person over and over again. But Lacey, you know, is a person who likes to be at the mall. This is when she was younger. But also, I was stopped at JCPenney maybe like 9 years ago. It's not infrequent. Yeah. JCPenney, please. Meanwhile, are they even around anymore?
You know, happy to say they went bust last year. They went bankrupt. So any advice you can give to the new owners of JCPenney who spent $800 million buying the chain, you know, get it out there now because they need to hear it.
When you see a Black person, chase them down. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what they're being taught.
That's how they're being taught. Except training. They're looking at this face and being told that.
So I really love the fact that you, I mean, when I say I really loved it, I mean, these are kind of, I love this, but it's stomach churning. I love the fact that your mother knows JCPenney so well that she knows the security knock on the door so that she can get in back to get you out when you've been be arrested for something.
Yeah. Please give me my innocent children back.
Yes.
She is quite a character, your mother. She's fleetingly in the book, but I did feel that the security staff at JCPenney had maybe taken on more than they bargained for when they mixed it with her.
Yes, they did. Definitely.
I mean, you can't snatch up people's children and accuse them of things they didn't do. Well, sorry, we're in America. You can definitely do that. It's a thing to be done. But you can't do it to Teresa Ruffin without getting your feelings hurt a little bit.
So there are many other gorgeous, memorable, and you know, as I say, gut-wrenching scenes in your book, and I'm sure individual readers will choose the ones that speak to them most clearly. Did you have any favorite ones when you were reviewing this long and glamorous history of being falsely accused of things?
That was the alt title. A long and glamorous history of being accused of things. The Lacey Lamar story.
How did you know?
That would not have been a bad title.
It would not have been. It's too late to go back now.
Too late. Where were you, Clive? Favorite stories? I don't know. Lacey?
One of my favorites is when I was having a meeting with someone at work in their office, talking to them for a while, and then when the meeting was over, she looked at me and said, "Okay, so now can you go get Lacey and bring her in? I need to meet with her too." It's me. I said, "I'm Lacey. I'm right here." There was only one other Black woman that worked there with me, and we did not look alike. I can't stress this enough, but they mixed us up all the time. And so we just sat there in an awkward silence for a while. I was like, "I want you to feel this. I am Lacey. Here I am." We just sat and looked, and then she goes, "Oh, well, I'm sorry. I, stumbled through her words, and I just got up and left." Yeah.
I was very happy that you included the photographs of the people to whom you are identical in the book, and I hope that Charles can put that on screen for us because they are wonderful. And you obviously look like a whole series of famous Black people.
All of them.
All of them. It turns out, yeah. I guess if they played more tennis in Omaha, you could add to the list.
Oh my gosh, yes. I've probably gotten that too. Everyone.
I especially wanted to ask you, I mean, the story that I found in its own way poisonously charming was the one of your coworker wanting to get goods from a party store, but not wanting to go to in a certain part of town. This one really baffled me. Yeah. So you're going to get the gear for a party. It's an office party, isn't it?
Yeah.
A regular
Something for work,
office party.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I mean, I just want
they
people
were-
people listening to this need to be clear. It's not some kind of illicit, underground
party.
nefarious,
No.
but it's a regular party.
Mhm.
office party.
Yeah.
Right.
And their office is in the bad part of town, but it's not. It's a lovely part of town. It's a beautiful
not.
part of town.
Okay.
And they're very close to a party store, but Lacey's coworker doesn't want to go there because it's in a bad part of
Yeah,
town.
there's more. She's going to see people of color, and she's terrified of people of color. And I know that's why she doesn't want to go.
So and the store is like 10 minutes away. It's
Not
No.
10 minutes. It is like 5. It's very close.
very close.
But even 10 minutes, we could give it 10 minutes. It's still fine, but it's very close.
But
So you guys are you're going to throw a party. You're going to go to a party store. There's a party store 5 minutes away, and then your coworker persuades you to get in her car, and she drives to a different state. What is going on?
different state. That's the lengths to which this lady will go to not have to see or talk to a black person. And then they get, and Lacey's like, this is fine. I'm at work. This is your car. Oh, who cares?
Yes,
Let's do
your
it.
time.
They get in the store, and it is the filthiest store you've ever seen in
The
your
worst
life.
store.
It's a disgusting store.
And it's not a themed party store at all.
It's not even
It
a party
is
store.
what would you call it?
It's like a dollar store. Like 99-cent store.
But you're putting the 99-cent store down. It's just like it's in an old warehouse. Stuff is in huge cardboard boxes.
It's in like
and there is a word for it, but it's like just a junk sale. It's like a big
It's
junk
like a
sale,
junk
yard
sale.
sale.
It is like a junk sale.
There's dirt on the floor because they've dragged this stuff in on crates. The dirt is everywhere.
Dirt is on the stuff you're buying.
Stuff is opened and broken, so you really have to search for every single thing to make sure it's just clean.
If the theme of your party is Pigpen, this is the place.
My question is this.
And walking into the store, I must say, we didn't get the picture for that. There's a handwritten sign, and you could tell the person that wrote it was angry. It said, you can only have a clear bag when you walk in here, and your bag will be searched. It was just bizarre. Like, it's just bizarre.
So do you think she sort of realized when she got into a car with you and she'd said, no, we're not going to that party store, we're going to another party store, and then she realized that she actually had no idea where this other party store was, and then she crosses the state line, she's in Ohio, and she just sees the first 99-cent store.
No, she told me, I know of a great, that would be great if that was true. No, this is her store that she goes to.
That's her store?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she goes, I know I can get better deals here, you're going to love it. No, I did not love it.
I hope you can get a better deal there.
And I would love to add, I worked with this lady for quite a while, and this was my introduction to her. We all had a lunch, and we were sitting, eating lunch with another coworker, and she's talking about moving to Omaha because she had come from a smaller town. And she said, yeah, my kids didn't really want to move here. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. And the part of town that the place is in, my husband was scared for me. And I go, it's coming, here it comes. And she said, and because Black people are mean. Black people are mean. And at that but this is great.
They're sitting at the same table.
Sitting at a table, and the other person that's with us is white. This is perfect. A lady stands up. She sees me. We're in this restaurant. She stands up, walks over. In 2 seconds, she goes, Amber Ruffin? She goes, oh no, you're Lacey. And she goes, well, how's it going? What's going on? And I said, oh, it's great. I said, I'm writing a book. I just totally left those two talking. And I said, I'm writing a book. And she said, what's it about? And I said, it's about growing up Black in Omaha, Nebraska, and all the racist things that happened to me and all my racist stories. And she goes, oh, that's great, and walks off. But it was perfect. Then I go back to this conversation. Yeah.
So does your former, I think, coworker know that she has a little starring moment in your book?
No, but she'll find out. No, she does not.
I hope they find out.
They'll find out.
I'm looking forward to. I hope they find out, because maybe they bought the audiobook. You know how you can be listening to something and not really be sure what it's about until suddenly you think, "Oh, wait a second, how do I turn this thing off?" I want them to have that experience. So the experience of growing up in Omaha while Black was clearly pretty challenging in a sort of three-dimensional way, and it's affected, impacted anyway your career choices and things like that, and your school. There's a terrifying moment with one of your art teachers, which really beggars belief that anybody could be an educator behaving as she does. Mm-hmm. So that story is a kind of interesting one, because there's a kind of bittersweet or bitter end to it for the art teacher. You re-encounter this art teacher who's done something just completely heinous to you on her first day, teaching you. She doesn't know you at all. She doesn't believe that you've done a great piece of art, and she destroys it. Mm-hmm. So tell us what you felt when you encountered her much later on in her life.
Oh, it was so bizarre, because it was her first day. They wheel her in. She's sitting across from me at a table, and I'm just talking to her, getting to know her. And I'm looking at her face, and I said, "You look so familiar."
This is at an old folks' home.
This is at a retirement. Yeah, at a retirement home. Sorry, yeah. And so that's where I used to work, retirement home. And I'm talking to her, and she's naming all these places, but being a teacher and at the school. So I'm just like, that's not it. That's not it. And it hit me before it hit. I said, "You're Mrs. So-and-so. You were my 5th grade art teacher." And she goes, "Oh, yes, I was." And we just kind of looked at each other, and I think she wanted me to say, "Yay!" And all these people come around. "Oh my God, this was Lacey's art teacher. This is great." And I'm just like, "Yay, yeah." And I'm just looking at her, but it was very bizarre connecting with her again.
And then later, Lacey, as she watched this lady live at this retirement home, she saw that the lady did not have people come visit her.
Yeah.
She would not interact with the other residents.
No.
And Lacey just got to witness the sad end to this horrible lady's life. Yeah. But hey, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
That's bad.
That is bad. It's only bad if we say who we're talking about. As long as she's a mystery.
So, Amber, do you go back to Omaha?
Yeah, I go back every year. Maybe twice a year might be right.
I mean, and apart from to see Lacey, which would be an excellent reason, is there any other reason to go back to Omaha?
Yeah, Lacey and my mommy and my daddy.
Right.
That's really it. And my old friends. Yeah, we hang out. We go there, and then I get there. I ditch my husband. We sing karaoke from the second I walk in the door.
It's all about karaoke. We have a strict schedule.
It's truly, truly terrible.
Do you want to share what songs you go for?
Okay, so there are a couple different ways you can go. You can't, because it is Nebraska, you can sing Something to Talk About by Bonnie Raitt.
Let's give them something to talk about.
What Lacey and I love to sing is a song called Whip Appeal by Babyface. We're quite old.
It's our go-to.
It's our go-to song. It's like the oldest song. And even if you love Babyface, you don't necessarily love that song. We don't care. It's the best song.
So you sing it together, and do you look anything like these?
I look like the worst.
I don't think so. Far from it.
We thought
we looked amazing.
Ooh. I was like, if this is true beauty,
yes,
I am going to go on to become a model for JCPenney. Did not happen. They did not. They stopped me at the door.
You cannot be a model here.
You cannot be a model here.
But were you singers in those days? Were you singers? You were gospel singers? We're in church.
We used to,
We sang in a gospel group called Twice Blessed.
it's true.
And let's just
We did.
let's just leave it.
We did. And if we sang at if you went to a black church in Omaha, Nebraska, wasn't but 3, in between 1990 and 1993, something like that, you saw Twice Blessed.
Okay, so I just want to say to anybody out there on Facebook who sees this movie, if you can send me a recording of Twice Blessed, I will send you any book published by the Hachette Publishing Group. Any book at all that you want, I will get it to you if you will get me this recording.
Not do
Don't
that.
do it. We'll double it.
Oh my God, this is horrible. What a horrible threat. I regret putting it in the book.
Because as we're having this conversation, it's a very weird day in America because there are people sort of storming the Capitol and there's some serious stuff going on in the country. So I just want to switch the mood a little bit. I mean, I love reading your book, and the brilliant thing about your book is how deftly and gracefully and frankly funnily it deals with some pretty tough and stinging events in your lives and events that have lessons for all of us. When you look out the window these days, do you feel that there has been a kind of positive, progressive experience for Black people in America, for you in America? Do you feel this is a more welcoming and accommodating and understanding country for you now than before, or are we just stuck?
It depends on where you are.
It depends on where you're
If
at.
you're in Omaha, no.
No. In Omaha, we took 20 steps back when Trump was elected. Like I remember that day, I was talking about this the other day. I sat in my car and recorded it on my phone. I said, I have to go to work today and this is going to be horrible. And there were people at my job that stopped, white people that stopped talking to the Black people. The day before we were fine. And then after that, they were done because they're like, oh, and you just saw people's true colors. We're winning now. We're on top. Well, they've always been on top, but now I don't have to pretend that I like Black people. You are the enemy. It was so bizarre and still is. For example, at my job, there was a lady who would, she had dementia and she would yell out very racist things to the staff, to the Black staff. And so some of the staff said, I don't feel comfortable in there. She'll hit me. She's very angry towards people of color. And we had to have a meeting about it, about how to deal with her. And the CEO talked about it and said, you know what? I don't want to hear about this. This is your job. I think she's a lovely lady. Hell, I'd have her come live in my house if I could. That was our meeting about how to handle the racist resident. Yeah. And they didn't want to hear another thing about it. No more complaints. Yeah. It's
particularly amazing today because it looks like the Democrats are going to elect 2 senators in Georgia, one of whom will be the first Black senator from Georgia, I believe.
Yay!
Yes.
And I think the first Black senator to be elected from a once Confederate state. So this feels like a big thing.
Yes.
And we know that Stacey Abrams in Georgia has been working very, very hard for a very long time to revitalize the prospects of the Democratic Party there. So on the one hand, it feels like, progress is possible. And on the other hand, if you sort of scrape the data from the election last year, you find that a lower percentage of Black America, and indeed Hispanic America particularly, voted for Joe Biden than voted for Hillary Clinton 4 years earlier. So I don't understand. I really don't understand how to understand that.
When you do, call me, because I'd love to find out. No, I don't know. I guess the answer to all of this is racism must feel great. It's got to feel amazing. Because people hold on to it so tight, even when it is hurting them, they cling to it. I guess people need that feeling of superiority. And when you're born Black, wanting that feeling isn't really like, I guess that feeling isn't necessarily attainable, not in a way, not in like a social structure way. So like you don't really think about it or look at it. But I think that might be different for white people. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's the problem with white people.
Which is not quite the subtitle of your book, but it's certainly one of the inferences.
Could have been.
That'd be a good title. You sell 2 copies to angry people.
Well, look, thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. A pleasure talking to you as well, of course. And is pub date next week? Is that right?
The 12th.
The 12th. Really, best of luck. Have fun. May the media flock to you and create a little havoc out there for us.
Yay!
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having us. The 4 of us are fun.
Hachette,